Every year I look forward to Blocktober and I love participating in it, and this year's no different. This time around I've got 8 videos for you. These are sped up streams with commentary over the top. I hope you find them interesting or useful. To start us off, I found this piece of concept art. Let's get into it. Okay, so I always start with a basic setup scene, and then from there I block out kind of the bigger areas or the bigger shapes in the concept. You have to start from somewhere, and this is where I start. I then find a common object where I can match the scale of a human to. So in this case it's the tower door frame. Now this is important at this stage because we could then take this model into the final game. So getting the scale right and working now will be super important later on. It also helps because you're trying to make something that we can relate to, and a door in this case works quite well. I then start blocking out the window, and I'm just using cubes for this on very simple primitive shapes. Next, the roof and the building shape itself. And now I'm starting to block in the trellis-esque balcony area to the side. I add some bends just to make it fit the building. And I've also added colours at this stage as well, so I can help make things pop out so I can see them. Next comes the camera. So this 2D image has a fixed camera, so let's try and match it in the scene. Bring back the ground. And I just use the one kind of curved ground plane itself to kind of block out the rest of the surrounding landscape. Some tweaks here and there in the shape. And now I'm re-blocking out the roof on closer inspection. Instead of it being cylindrical, it seems to be made of an octagon shape. I also do the same with the tower, but I smooth the corners a bit more. So the tower isn't completely cylindrical. I add a background to the trellis section. This could be doors or supports to the roof, and a chimney as well. As I go, I'm checking what it looks like in the camera composition. Next comes the windmill feature to the right hand side. I'm a big fan of using individual pieces instead of kind of having everything meshed into one object. It just gives you a bit more flexibility to work with parts at this stage. And now I'm blocking out the propeller itself. It also helps to add bends and edge loops for that, just so that you don't just have flat objects in the blockout. I'm now adding the kind of controller and where it links to the building itself. I'm now repositioning the propeller, checking the composition, adjusting the landscape. I'm now adding a water plane in. It's just a flat plane. And further landscape tweaks. Next comes the fence to the left side of the building. Trying to match up the composition of it as best I can to the 2D concept art. And now I'm adding the paving stones, and I just push them through the geometry so that I kind of get a bit of a sense of the ground overtaking them. I'm now thinking about the vegetation, and in Modo what I can do is I create a very proxy mesh of a plant. So some leaves, geometry leaves, and then bend them into place. I then use a weight map to highlight which areas of the landscape I want the plant to appear. And I use a surface particle generator and a replicator to add these plants to the landscape. You can see I can use the weight map as a mask on the surface particle generator. Once those are in, I take a cube and I pretty much knock it in a bit and turn it into a rock. These I start to scatter around the landscape too. I've tried to match the colour up to that in the concept art. Again, I think having colour in the blockout is really good because you instantly can tell what each thing is, and it helps blend the blockout to the 2D concept as well. There's flowers in the scene, so using the same process as before, I just create a little flower plant and I just assign the flower polygons a different material, in this case pink. And again, I paint the weight map to specify where I want these flowers to grow. I create a new surface particle generator and replicator, and I also bulk out the plant, well, the plant and the flowers, so that I have an increased amount of foliage in the blockout. I then create a 2D cube, well, rectangle, and use this as the wire, connecting the propeller to the building, but I actually delete this in favour of a curve because I know in Modo I can use render curves when I choose to render it to create that curve and give it some thickness. I now start adding some backgrounds some mountains and landscaping to the background. Give these a new colour. Check out the render. Reposition the directional light so it's matched more with the 2D concept. I add a sky dome, and then I use very simple geometry with the transparency set in as clouds. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please like, comment and subscribe. And for more game art related content, check out the other videos on my channel. See you next time.